LLM architecture for professional communicators.
Hello and welcome to the Tenfold AI Podcast Market Watch Edition. I'm Heather. This is a show where we talk to marketers, agency owners, MarTech guys like today with our guests, and we dig into what's changing in marketing, how's AI affecting the space, what's clickbait, what's real hype versus, we're looking at everything and talking to people who are working in the space every single day. Super stoked today to talk to Brock and Brody, otherwise known as the Bros of Kansas City, MarTech fame and glory. Hey guys, how you doing?
That's
Very
quite
well,
the intro.
thanks.
We're doing
Yeah.
well, thanks.
You deserve a better one than that, but it's a podcast and we're all,
That was good. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys started a company many moons ago called DivvyHQ, which was a bleeding edge, disruptive, hot on the scene piece of tech. It was wildly successful. And that is now under the Litho brand. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Litho, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody gets
Yep.
that wrong.
Yeah. No worries. Litho brand. And now you're working on something new. You two have ventured into a new partnership together. I have so many questions just about that. Like, as someone who has a business partner who I do really enjoy, like, you guys must really like each other to
go way
like,
back.
do a second act. So maybe tell me a little bit about your origin story. How did you guys meet?
Origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes, we do go way back. So Brody and I started working together probably around 16 or 17 years ago, which is kind of a weird thing to say. That's a long time. So the short story is like Brody had a marketing agency and I had a branding and website development firm. And we ended up joining forces in 2010 because what we were doing was so complementary. And that ended up being a really good move for both of us. Together, we started building programs to help our clients grow with online content. And we built some pretty unique methods on how we did that. And it worked really well. So like our combined agency took off and we started getting more and more clients. But as we grew, we had a really hard time managing all the content projects we were working on with all of our clients. And so we frankly just needed to find a better system to manage all that. So as you mentioned, we built this tool called DivvyHQ. And we ended up building that in 2011. And it was just a content planning tool that we built for us. And then we started selling that to other companies who also needed help managing all their content. Fast forward a little bit, Divvy started to take off and we ended up selling the agency in Litho to 2015. As you mentioned, to focus 100% on Divvy, to kind of go all in. And at that same time, we ended up raising venture capital for Divvy.
LLM architecture for professional communicators.
Brody, anything to add to your origin story that Brock didn't cover?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think the overall history is intact. We've told that story, a million times. I think the thing I would add is that when we left Litho and we essentially started to just think about what we wanted to do next, the thing we gravitated towards is just sitting down and having conversations with a whole lot of people in the city. We went to a whole lot of happy hours and lunch meetings and coffees with just all kinds of people. When you're in your SaaS software trench, sometimes it's hard to get out of that and put your head above water and see what's going on in the world. So it was fun to do that for several months. And in that time, we really started thinking long and hard about what's next for us, what's going on in the world. And I think some of the things that we came to, certainly AI is right in the mix of in the middle of that, just seeing how much AI is kind of throwing a grenade in so many industries right now. And I'm sure that so many companies out there are trying to figure out how the heck they navigate it. Some are putting their head under a rock. Others are, at the forefront of it, which is awesome. But there's a heck of a lot of companies out there that just don't know how to navigate it all. So that was kind of a big piece of what we thought we could help with, because we had already started using tools. Gosh, we had started even back in the Divi world, we had started integrating the content generation tools like Jasper and Writer into the Divi interface, so people could actually use generative AI right within our writing area within the application. And that was like 6 years ago. So we were
Mm-hmm.
already in that space, already kind of saw where things were going, but knowing that certainly with the advent of ChatGPT, that that was the big kind of starting gun for the majority of the business world. So that
Mm-hmm.
was kind of one component. The other component, or there's multiple, but the other thing that we've really seen over the last few years, you see all these stories of major websites that are just tanking in traffic because
Yeah.
so many people are now going to AI engines for research to learn things, yada yada, and so they're no longer going to the websites, or they're less and less using Google to search for things. So seeing that happening and knowing all of the downstream ramifications of that, now so many industries out there that have relied on owned channels, they've relied on SEO. Well, when that's kind of wiped out, whole playbooks have to change.
Yeah.
And so just thinking about how we could help companies navigate the change in their playbooks and rethinking what they need to do. So, I mean, those are some of the kind of the disruptive forces that we were seeing and talking with people and recognizing that there's some really big challenges out there. How can we start putting together some consultative offerings and advisory offerings that can lead folks down this new path?
Yeah. It's interesting because the way you're positioned with Forge and Fathom, your new venture, from what I've seen anyway, and if memory serves, you don't really lead with AI. Like AI is kind of the backdrop.
Mhm.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of assumed at this point, I think, that AI is in play if you're
For
offering
sure.
anything in the marketing space, especially spinning up a new entity. So I think that's interesting. So what do you lead with? Like what is with Forge and Fathom when you're talking to, a new prospect that you think you can help? Like what kind of problems are they experiencing today that are kind of your triggers to say, yeah, we can totally help you with that?
I think they're going through they're having a lot of challenges. Like we're built for companies who are either growing well, but they know there's more opportunities to grow, or companies who the growth is struggling, right? And the CEO and or executive team, they're sitting there spinning the wheels going, gosh, we don't know, we don't know. What is like we're staying up at night, like we're losing sleep. The market has changed. It's harder than ever to compete. It's harder than ever to get leads, as Brody mentioned. What do we do? Where they're trying all this stuff, they're experimenting with tactics, but things still aren't working. So there's this lack of focus and clarity. And sometimes they just need an outside looking in perspective. And what we tell companies is, look, like the times have changed. You've got to build a modern growth engine. So, like, okay, well, what does that mean? So, how do we help our customers build modern growth engine? So, we thought about this a lot. And what we ended up doing is we built this incredible technology, again, AI powered, where we can do a deep dive analysis of their entire go to market engine. It's extremely comprehensive. And so we'll meet with their executive team, we'll analyze the business. We were asking a lot of questions. We're gathering a lot of documentation they have on the company. And then we built this scoring framework and algorithm, again, with AI, that in a matter of minutes, we can analyze all those conversations, all the responses, all the documentation they have, and look with pinpoint accuracy, like, look, these are the gaps that you have. These are areas where you're a little bit weak. Here are your growth opportunities. And not only that, here are the exact things you need to focus on in this sequential order. So we will do the analysis, and then we'll give them the actual tactical playbook. And we organize that over 3 phases. It's kind of a do now, do next, do later. So for these companies that are scrambling, they're trying to figure out how do we compete in this new world, we can show them with accuracy. And we come in and say, look, all that other stuff you guys are experimenting with and trying, don't worry about that right now. These are the exact things you need to work on in this sequential order. So it gives them that
Mm-hmm.
confidence, it gives them that clarity. And frankly, it gives their entire executive team kind of confidence or commitment that, look, we're all in this together. Like we now, we're all kind of marching the same beat. We all agree, like now we know we all collectively have to focus on. And so it gets their executive teams more aligned than they were before. Does that answer the question?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can
I think so.
add some more color there. I think one of the interesting things, and throwing AI back into the mix here, one of the components of our tool set is an actual AI analysis, looking at their visibility, current visibility, credibility. There's a few different kind of filters that we have built into our tool set. And I think the interesting thing that we're finding, and I think this is talked about quite a bit online these days, is when you think about AI, it's really a mirror. And so if AI is getting you wrong, if you go and do some research on your business and the responses that are coming back are not the way that you would talk about yourself, and it's getting you wrong, then that's not an AI problem. It's a you problem. And
Yeah.
and just being able to expose some of that and help them understand, hey, you've got a product description on this third party site that is 5 years old, or you've got old, G2 or Capterra reviews, that are, absolutely positioning you the wrong way, or whatever it
Yeah.
is. There's a reason why AI is getting you wrong, and what are you going to do about it? And just
Right.
even bringing up some awareness of, okay, here's kind of the AI visibility snapshot, and here's why you are either not showing up in recommendations, or you are showing up but it's inaccurate, how it's positioning you, those kinds of things.
Mhm.
Those are essentially the mirror for faults and gaps in your actual positioning, in your foundation, in the way that you're describing yourself out in all of the surfaces and sources that AI is going to pull from.
Huh?
Combining that with all of our diagnostic work that we're doing kind of inside the company, we're really getting a good snapshot of where the company is. And again, as Brock mentioned, the keying in on the three things that you need to do right now, and in this order, so that you don't get distracted by all the things, because when we've run these, we'll come up with 20 things that a company needs to do, with that are relatively important. So, and but we can't boil the ocean right now. We got to just focus on the core things that are really going to be meaningful with them. And more often than not, these are foundational things that they haven't thought about in a long time. And they
Yeah.
really need to hone in and get those right before they do anything else. And so that's kind of really a lot of the core things that we're doing for companies.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder what I don't know, how is that message received from prospects that you're talking to or clients that you work with? Are they like excited that, that they have that clarity, or are they like, man, this is a pain in the ass? We like just
It's the
because I'm
easiest way to get
sensing a
the
little
answers.
of both, right?
Yeah, it's the easiest way for them to get the answers. And frankly, like it only takes us a couple days. I mean, after we review everything and we present it to their executive team, it's a relatively low cost. And so, it's like, well, what's it take? Like, what's the value of understanding your go to market? Like right now, you're wasting time, you're wasting resources, you're wasting money. We can help you eliminate that. And then, it's funny because what we try to do is like, how can we make this stupid simple? How can we reduce all friction in the buying process of buying, our assessment tool, which what we call Fathom 360. And so we take them through this. We show them examples of other reports, and we say, look, it's not a huge time commitment. Get a very clear view on how you need to organize the business and move it forward. Here's the cost. And if we don't deliver 3 high impact growth opportunities for you, then we'll give you all the money back. It's just 100% refund. We haven't had to use that yet, right? Because we've delivered really good tangible growth opportunities, but that kind of lets their guard down a little bit to say, hey, just trust us. We know what we're doing here, and the tool is very powerful.
Yeah.
Frankly, like all these, there's so many companies figuring this out right now. And again, with the power of AI, these tools, it's unbelievable the amount of insight that we can deliver and what we can analyze just like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing now, we kind of joke. It's like, look, a few years ago, companies would have hired a McKinsey or an Accenture,
Yeah.
had a full team of consultants that's spending months to analyze the business, provide, recommendations in a playbook, and spend, I don't know, 500,000 to a million, whatever that costs. It's expensive. Well, we can do that in a matter of a couple of days at a fraction of the cost,
Yeah. That's very
right?
cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think one of the key points is that if I'd look at it kind of 2 points or two states in a company. One, if there's any kind of struggle, let's say stagnant growth or even declining growth, and they don't know what to do, that's kind of one state. The other state is there is opportunity to grow, whether they feel like they're ready to scale, or they have something going on in the business. They're trying to expand into a new market, or they've got a new product that they're getting ready to roll out. These are kind of what we call growth moments, where it's really important for you to understand what your foundation looks like. The structure that you are building off of. Obviously, if your company is declining or stalled growth, there's something going on under the hood, and certainly there could be market dynamics at play. But does it mean that you aren't differentiating yourself the right way in the market, which
Yeah.
is creating that stalled situation? Or if you're looking to expand, you're looking at a new product, yada yada, is the foundation that you have going to be stable enough to actually support the new things that you're doing? If you're rolling out a new product, you're trying to expand into a different market, is your current positioning are you positioned the right way to actually be able to be the foundation for whatever that growth moment is going to look like? And so those are kind of the times where we feel like, just take a little bit of time, take a pause, really evaluate your foundation and your entire engine, and see if it's going to support whatever the future is going to look like for you, whether it's getting out of a stalled growth position or doing something new. Let's just make sure that you're dialed in and positioned the right way, so that whatever that is going to be well supported.
Yeah. Well, there's so many MarTechs, new shiny objects popping on the scene, like more than ever, because it's so easy. The lift is so much lower to get an app off the ground
Oh,
than
yeah.
when you guys, were building in 2010. Worlds of difference. VC funding no longer needed, So the landscape's changed and there's all these new tools popping on the scene. I'm curious to get your thoughts on just the MarTech space in general, but it seems like that assessment step, that deep dive, looking for those insights, is kind of the antidote for shiny object syndrome, right? Because the alternative is let's just go subscribe to every tool we
That's
can
right.
find and use none of them, right? So what do you think of the MarTech space? Get as weird with it as you want, but what do you like? What do you not like? What's
Glad
your
I'm not
pulse
in it
on it?
anymore.
Are you? You're kind of in it, Brody. You're kind of in it.
We're kind of in it. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, that's my take, right? It's wild. It's my hot take, I guess. But I think everybody would say that. I think everything you mentioned is absolutely right. I think it's good and bad. It's, again, we can build tech, and we've mentioned this, that we couldn't build just a few months ago, right? It's unbelievable the things that we can build now. But the technology that we have built is insanely robust and advanced. And a couple of years ago, to your point, like that would have taken us venture capital funding, probably $1 million, probably over a year to develop, and a full team of engineers. We built our Fathom 360 app in just a few months with 3 of us. We actually have a third founder, Doug, and for hardly any money at all. So that's the good, right? That's the exciting, like everyone's excited about AI. Like it really is incredible what we can build. We're using it in ways like we're all still learning. It's like everybody's building so fast. To your point, everybody can build apps now. So in a world where like we already had a lot of tools, it's like now there's exponentially more. I mean, my 13-year-old son built an app over a course of a week. It was over winter break with Lovable. And it's a analyzer that will analyze your basketball game film and then give you like a coaching plan based off of the work you need to do. Like it's insane.
That's
And it works. Like it
awesome.
works really well. That's a 13-year-old who has zero experience building a business or an app or anything. So yeah, it's app overload, right? So I think it's the issue that I have with this is that the downside, it's going to be harder than ever for companies to filter through all the noise to compete and win, right? And it's going to be harder than ever for companies to figure out like, yeah, what apps do we need? What tools do we need? What tactics, all that stuff. But, and Brody kind of alluded to this, like what should businesses and marketers focus on, right? Like, all the tech in the world is not going to make a difference. You have to have the core foundational stuff in place, right? That's having solid product market fit. You've got to have a great product or great service. Like you can't skip that step. It's
Right.
really knowing your ideal customers, your buyers, what makes them tick. It's knowing where they buy, where are they consuming their content, what are the right channels, and then really having a clear value prop in messaging that's different. It's the business 101 stuff, right? that's what so many companies right now are not quite nailing.
Yeah.
Again, everyone's jumping to like, oh, we got to try this, the shiny object. Let's try this new tool, tactic, whatever we got to do. All that is great, but it's wasted time. They're wasting so much energy, and they're actually falling behind when they think they're like getting ahead, because they're attacking the market on this like unstable foundation. And we're seeing that all the time. And this is exactly what we're helping our customers with, how we're helping them figure out how to build their go-to-market machine.
Yeah, and I'm seeing what leads to that kind of freak out mode of let's just go subscribe to everything are things like our site traffic is down, our leads are not, our ads are not performing like they once did.
Yeah.
Because our traffic is stopping at the AI overview and not converting. And these business owners, it's like they look around and they realize my revenue, my pipeline is built on rented land. And the rented land is Google. And the rent just went way up.
Yeah.
And so they're freaking out, wondering what to do. But to your point, what you're talking about is really back to the basics of positioning, messaging, ICP, product market fit, like all the way back to those basics that companies have kind of got away with ignoring because they could just buy the keyword in Google or,
That's exactly right.
There's these proxies for trust that have been developed, SEO tactics, that don't work like they used to. Yeah, fascinating. Okay, AI is awesome. We know there's so many tools. You guys are awesome in how you're building your AI solutions. What do you think AI cannot do that only great marketers can do? And we're probably circling around that in this conversation already, but does anything kind of tangible come to mind that humans must do this part, AI cannot?
Right.
You want me,
Brock, go ahead.
you want me to take that one? Yeah, it's interesting. That's what everyone's trying to figure out right now, right? Like, how can I stay relevant? How can I keep my job? All that kind of stuff, right? It's a crazy time. The best quote, and we've been saying this a lot lately, but the best quote we've heard about AI was from actually one of our Divvy investors, super smart guy. And he was giving a presentation. He said, look, there's a surplus of intelligence right now, but a deficit of wisdom. I'm like, that's the best way to summarize it. Spot on. That's the best way. So there are all these tools out there. Like everybody has access to it. My 13-year-old son has access to it, right? Like, but the marketers that will win are really the ones, and Brody and I we're talking about this. They're going to be the ones that have the experience, the wisdom, the taste. They can discern. They know how to use the tools. They know how to prompt the LLMs. They can discern what's good or what's not. When people say that like in the future, like all content, it'll be like robots talking to robots, right? It'll be AI speaking to AI. We're already seeing that. I mean, so much of the marketing and content that I see online now, or you go to LinkedIn, it all sounds the same. I mean, we can go to LinkedIn. It's like, you don't have to read the content. You can just look at it and there's a structure to it, right? You see the format. AI has a cadence and a rhythm, and it just stands out. And I think that's the problem. I think we're starting to lose the human touch already and the creativity that I think makes great marketing truly stand out. And marketing is art and science, right? Like it can't all be science or all tech or all AI. You can't lose the art. And that's what humans bring, right? It's the heart, the soul. And I think what will resonate with buyers at the end of the day is just real, genuine content. So how do we do that, right? It's human connection, it's face-to-face interactions, supplemented by, digital content that we create online. Events, podcasts, webinars, like all that stuff is great. It'll get a little harder to do with deep fake technology, right? Like even that's advancing. But I think marketers just have to figure out a way to adapt and keep figuring out how they can bring like real human connection, like that's what buyers trust. That's what filters through all the AI noise.
Yeah, the thing I'd add, or two things I'd add to that. One is when you're in a company and you have any kind of first party data, and you can pull unique insights from that data, which you yourself, your company can own and tell a really good story around that. That's not stuff that AI can do on its own. It doesn't have the data. Certainly it can help you analyze it and I help you identify some of those patterns, but being able to truly translate into a story that's going to resonate with your buyer, that's much harder for AI to do. Again, maybe it's going to figure that out at some point. But I think even just the smart marketers that initiate those first party research projects and that kind of thing, that's stuff that is just not going to be something that is unprompted that AI could just do. That's
Yeah.
one. And then the other is unique points of view that are very distinctive from anything else that's out there. Obviously, AI has learned everything that's out there, so you got to bring the stuff that isn't out there yet. And you know
Mm.
that stuff's going to come up all the time, especially for smart marketers who are looking for it. And the more that they are thinking and monitoring the voice of the customer and understand exactly the unique scenarios that they come across and be able to turn that into a systematic planning engine where you're putting out new content because of the new scenarios that customers are running into, whether it's with your software, with your services, whatever it is, and being able to set up that system. That's all new stuff that the AI tools have never come across. Therefore, they can't regurgitate it back from their
Hmm.
training data and all of that. So those are kind of two things that I think marketers really need to key in on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me think of just how, I don't know, the opportunity for testing, like message testing, content testing, is like now any SMB company has the ability to test like an enterprise.
Yeah.
And that really is that kind of marriage of science and art of marketing,
Uh-huh.
right? Like the science is the testing, A through G, however deep you want to go into testing. And then the art piece of that is creating that content for those personas that you're going after. But smaller companies could never do that. Even 2 years
Yeah, well,
ago.
and it goes back to even the product conversation that we were talking about. The fact that we can build prototypes of things so much easier. And even before we build the prototype, we can put out a test that, let's say that you want to, I'm thinking about kind of the flow of how I would do things going forward. You have an idea for a product that could be really valuable. Throw out some messaging, throw out some sort of campaign that starts to just you're trying to throw something out where you get some data on if this is actually something that is viable in the
Yeah.
marketplace, and then build a prototype, have that tested, and then you go build the real thing. So just the whole speed of that whole process is can be so much faster than anything that we could do before.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of the most exciting things I think that AI brings to the table.
Well,
Yeah.
shoot, like once you get the
Yeah.
foundational work done, right? Once you understand, like, all right, I got product market fit, I know my ICPs, buyers, and where they're buying, where they're consuming content. Yeah, like, to your point, you can test the messaging in so many ways. I mean, think of your tool. They're like Promote, right? You plug that into Promote, boom, you're off to the races. You can scale content in a way that you couldn't in the past, that you can reach so many people so much faster.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we call it signal versus noise. Like, are you
Yeah.
publishing noise that's, sending something out that you never hear, you never get a
Hmm.
signal back? Or is it signal where you're kind of like pinging the tower of your ICP and you can prove it because you've got engagement or site visits or those little indicators, like tremors of success, I call it.
Yeah.
It's like something's here and alive. It's so exciting. Very cool.
Yep. For sure.
Okay, zooming out, how do you think, or do you think that great marketing will be redefined in the next 5 years? So we've talked about the tech, talked a little bit about the humans, now kind of the industry at large. How do you think the marketing as a practice may transform in the next 5 years?
Yeah. So my prediction, and I think we're already seeing that with traditional things coming back. I think there is going to be a pushback on a lot of AI generated stuff as people get smarter and are able to filter out things that are AI generated. I'm sure there's going to be things like a YouTube filter that says, okay, don't show me any videos that were AI generated. And the same could be said for other types of technologies out there. So, and that's probably a good thing. But really, I think the main thing I would key into is experiential things, actual physical things are going to make a big comeback. And we already see events coming back. Obviously, COVID put a big wrinkle in the whole event space. And so, that's back, but I think it's just going to continue to grow as people really appreciate and desire physical interactions with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just this whole AI craze, there will be a pushback on it, and people will get back to more traditional things, doing things with real people, and some of the other things that I think that are already making a comeback, traditional PR, as an example, it's back in a big way because the AI tools love citations, love
Mm-hmm.
seeing brands mentioned. Well, it's not that they love it, but they key in on mentions in third-party publications between what the brand name and what they do and the problems they solve. And the more that you have, the more of that you have out in third-party spaces, it's huge. So that's all PR that has been around for years. But
Mm-hmm.
so many companies have ignored that whole category of marketing communications because they've been able to rely so much on their own channels. So, I'm really excited for all my PR friends out there that, are really busy these days and really trying to figure out how they capitalize on all of that. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're all of those things I just mentioned, I think are all in play for the next 5 years for sure.
Mm-hmm. Brock, any other thoughts on that
Anything to
one?
add? I know it's so funny because it's like, I don't know. Who knows, right? Like it's so hard to predict all this stuff. It's coming at us so fast. There's some days where we're like, gosh, we're on the bleeding edge of this. Like, oh my gosh, we're AI experts. Like we're so forward thinking. And then there's other days it's like, whoa, what just happened? Like, are we behind already? Like all these things Claude is rolling out so many updates that like we even feel like we're falling behind. It's just so wild right now. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to predict what the next year is going to look like, let alone 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, we talk to a lot of folks in the tech world like you, Heather, like and we have these questions because frankly, we have young kids, right? Like, and we're trying to
Yeah.
guide them in their careers. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you study in college now? Like, what's going to be
That was
safe
going to
from
be my
AI?
next question.
Right? Like, who's going to win? Look, we don't have all the answers, but I mean, we thought about it, and I think the winners will kind of have like three qualities. They'll have an entrepreneurial mindset, right? Entrepreneurs, they can spot a problem, they know how to build a creative solution, they know how to find buyers, right? At a core, it's like we see a problem, we build a solution. Two, and again, we've talked about this already, but they know the foundations of business and marketing, right? They just understand how it works. And they have they're constant learners. They know how to adapt, they know how to experiment. So, I mean, at the highest level, I think having those kind of core competencies or qualities, I think will help, right? No
Mm-hmm.
matter what the AI does, right? You can use those core qualities to adapt and roll with the punches.
Yeah. Well, as you're talking, I'm thinking of like things that could spider off of those kind of few things that you mentioned, like curiosity, like
Curiosity.
being super curious. I've worked in agency spaces where, and I'll just, I'm not going to call out any names, but worked in agency spaces with younger staffers who were working on client work, creating content, running ads, whatever, who don't know the business model of the client that they're serving because they don't care. Now, they didn't have to care 5 years ago. If you're servicing a client inside of an agency, you're kind of checking
Absolutely.
boxes. Yep, it has the keyword density we're after. Good enough, send it off. Those types of, workers are not going to be super in demand, I think, because AI is pretty good at checking boxes. But it's not great at asking really, really good questions.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I've always said I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I think there are good pros and cons to that. But then over the last few years, the specialists have like risen, right? Like, oh, I'm a specialist in this, like know this in and out. And I was always kind of jealous, right? I'm like, oh, I'm not really a specialist in any one thing. I'm
Yeah.
more of a generalist. And now what they're saying is like the generalists are the ones who are really using AI to the fullest potential because they can see all the different areas of the business across marketing and sales and operations and finance. And they kind of have a breadth of knowledge. Now they're using the AI tools to be the actual specialized experts in that
Yeah.
function. So then I'm like, ooh, okay, maybe I have made no like
Yeah.
sorry.
Well,
It's
whenever I
interesting
talk
time.
to older people about AI, like people who are 60 plus years old
Yeah.
about AI, and they're kind of like, yeah, it's not for me. It's like the new, young, hip thing to do. And I'm like, actually, I think older people have a really interesting advantage in using AI because they have wisdom, lots of experience behind them. They know
Yeah.
how to look at something and say, that's BS. I'm not buying that. Just because their view of the world is so dense and rich from their
Mm-hmm.
lived experience. So yeah, it's really interesting to
100%.
see who
Yep.
has, who
Yeah.
has those advantages right now.
Yep. They
Yeah.
know the right questions to ask, and they know what good looks like, and all those things for sure.
Yeah, we talk a lot
Thank you
about
thank you for not saying old people 50 plus, because I know.
Brody, you're 22 years old. Come on. You're not
Thank
fooling
you.
anybody. Not fooling it. I put an age filter on this so we'll all look 20 years
Nice.
younger
Love
Perfect.
than
it.
we are.
Love
Yeah.
it.
That's so
Oh, that's
nice.
why
We have
Brock looks so nice today. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah,
shots
that's
fired.
funny. And we talk a lot about, you mentioned what good looks like. And Brock, you mentioned taste a few minutes ago. We talk a lot about becoming a tastemaker as a marketer. Like, what does good look like for your brand in terms of messaging, in terms of creative,
Yeah.
graphics? What is good? Because in a world where you can create anything in seconds with AI, that taste, that preference, holding that line, I think becomes a huge skill set for any marketer.
Yeah, for sure. Brody and I were talking about this the other day. Marketers are smart. Marketers are creative. Marketers are innovative. What we would say is like, don't rely 100% on AI. I mean, if you do, you see the companies, you see the marketers doing that. And what's happening is it's watering down the content. It's watering down their own creativity. And so we have to remind ourselves, like trust, like the intellect, trust your judgment and your ideas, trust your gut. Otherwise, it's like it's all going to sound the same. Like you won't stand out in a crowded market. The market is getting more and more crowded. Like you have to figure out a way to stand out. And a lot of times, again, we get back to that the art piece of it. That's the human component.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, this is off the cuff question, but do either of you have any like fun AI uses like in your personal life? Like, you're using a chatbot for a couple are coming to mind for me. So I'm curious if you guys had any.
Brody, this is all you, man. You've been
What are
tinkering
you
all over
doing,
yeah.
Brody?
Oh yeah, I take her a lot. So I would say the two that I use every day. One is my exercise chatbot, which I've gone through and created a whole rules document on kind of what I need my workouts to look like based on my goals. And so I fed that in. Definitely used ChatGPT in this case because I've had it for a while before I started switching over to Claude. But just using the tool to establish the set of rules and kind of guardrails of how it needs to build a workout for me every day. And then basically I can hit a button and it spits out the workout for the day. So I've got my whole
Nice.
schedule, and just being able to not have to think about that and know that the exercise plan for the day, whatever the different lifts and different things I'm doing, are going to be really dialed in on the overall goals I have, from whether it's weight loss or getting bigger biceps or whatever it is. It's really dialed into exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. So that's
I like
one.
it.
Two is an actual agent that I built. It was actually a scheduled task in Claude that goes out every morning, and it will read my LinkedIn feed for me and immediately pull out specific posts that are kind of what I call engagement worthy. So things that are in line with the topics that I want to monitor, the different points of view that I have, opportunities for engagement. And it's basically just looking for those different things. And then it will go ahead and give me a little bit of an angle of what a comment might look like. And it'll go ahead and write a draft. Now, rarely do I use the actual
Mm-hmm.
copy and paste
Because it just
scenario.
feels weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And certainly I've gotten it dialed in to where my own voice document has a ton of rules on it, so it gets close. But really, the point is it's surfacing not only the posts themselves that are engagement worthy, but giving me an angle based on my point of view. and the things that kind of our strategy, what we're trying to get across, the message we're trying to get across, and just a regular drumbeat of engagement that I typically haven't had, I haven't dedicated the time for, but the fact that it's teed up for me every morning at 9 a.m. and I can just go through it real quick and do my LinkedIn engagement, and it's just everything that I would want to do if I actually sat down and went through it, but it saves me so much time versus the manual processes that it would normally take.
That's a fun one. I might
Well,
have Matt build that for me. I'm not going to build it, but maybe Matt would for me.
I can give you I pulled it out as a template. I've told many people about this, and they're like, "Hey, can you share that with me?" And so I do have kind of the template, instructions if you
Yeah,
want to take it.
that's
very
cool.
Happy
cool.
to send that to you.
Maybe we could link it in the description of this
There you go.
podcast. Would that
We
be
could, we
cool?
could
Okay.
absolutely do that.
Is it on your website or no?
It
It's
needs to
not.
be.
It's hosted. It's a PDF that's hosted on the site, but I don't have it linked anywhere yet. But I can
Okay.
absolutely send you the link, like 30
Yeah,
seconds.
let's do that. Brock, what about you? Any fun AI
Yeah, I mean, I
uses?
use it all the time for all sorts of different things. I think the way that we're using it right now in the business to drive our own leads is so cool. It's so fun. I mean, back in the old days, right? A year ago, 2 years ago,
Right. 7 days ago.
right? Yeah, like if we're prospecting, if we're doing outbound, we got we got prospects. You know how that goes. It's like you're shooting emails out, you're sending LinkedIn messages,
Yeah,
and
it
it's kind of like,
sucks.
"Hey, I'm checking in again. What happened? You want to talk? Like, how's it going?" Brutal, right? You're kind of like seeing this like these check-in emails that never work. They go radio silent. And so what we've done is we built our own lead gen tools. Like we built these apps, the AI 360 analyzer, so you can see your AI visibility, like your AI presence. We have a quick check app that anybody can take on our website. It's free. You go to our website. It's a very lightweight version of our full diagnostic. But in 5 minutes, you can run through 12 questions and you can get your own go-to-market score with a list of recommendations. It's awesome. So now what we're doing is we're utilizing this to our advantage, and we're still building more AI tools that we're using for lead gen. So, we'll have a conversation with a prospect or buyer, and now our check-ins aren't, "Hey, how's it going? Do you want to have an update call again? Like, what's new? Remember us?" It's like, "Hey, we ran this report on you. Take a look. Here's a link to a microsite. We thought it was really interesting. We found some really interesting things in there. Let me know if you want to talk about it." That does a
So
pretty darn good
you're
job of getting responses.
Yeah, so you're automating the quick check on cold prospects? Am I getting
So,
that right?
more the AI 360 right now, but we
Mm.
will also send people to our quick check to get them engaged. Like, "Hey, we have this.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look. Take 5 minutes, run through that, and we'll see if there's some pretty interesting insights that we should talk about,
Very
and we can
Yeah,
cool.
talk through
on
that
the AI
together."
360, the visibility analyzer, all we really need is their web address.
Mm-hmm.
And we've kind of built this whole back end where it goes and synthesizes, or synthesizes isn't the right word, hypothesizes who their primary buyer personas would be, that it would be doing research on AI for the problems they solve. And
Mm-hmm.
then it thinks about, the individual personas, what problems they would likely enter into some sort of query, and then it runs the report, and it does that all in about 5 minutes. So, and then builds a microsite with all of the results, with the
Mm-hmm.
recommendations. It's awesome. So
Very cool.
now in 5 minutes, we've got a report that we can, this is almost more of a little bit of an ABM type of approach where
Yeah.
Right.
we've got a target list of folks that we want to capture or that we want to reach out to. And this is just a really juicy tool now in that ABM playbook that is much better than anything else that we could have done in the past because
Yeah.
of this whole flow.
Yeah, I really like that idea. And you're getting some good traction with that?
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's
That's
eye
very cool.
opening. Yes.
You're
Eye
like,
opening for
oh,
the
these
clients
people
because
are alive.
yeah, it's more of like we don't necessarily want to start a relationship with an oh shit moment, but there's a lot of oh shit moments because they realize that they are in a really bad spot from an AI visibility perspective. And
Uh-huh.
hey, let's talk about it. We can help.
That's cool. Yeah, Matt's the builder in our group for sure. I am not. So I was just going to tell you how I cheated on Scrabble with my husband.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
It was more of a prank. I did tell him that I did it, but we play the Scrabble, app occasionally, and he and I were playing, and I'm taking screenshots and uploading it to ChatGPT. I'm like, what's my best move? And I'm just smoking him. And he's like, how are you so good at this? And I'm like, I don't know.
That's
I told
awesome.
him later, I'm like, I had a little help from my friend
Good.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's
Yes.
very
great.
cool.
That's a good one.
Okay, last question. What's one thing that you hope marketers don't lose sight of? Like, I imagine marketers are feeling pressure to use AI. They're leaning into it, some of them more than others. Some are probably outsourcing too much of their decision making and critical thinking to AI. So, what's the baby in the bathwater, if you will? What should not be abandoned in the AI era?
Brock, you want to start?
Yeah, I actually kind of mentioned it already. I think it's a great question, but it just comes down to trust your own judgment and gut, right? Don't rely 100% on AI. Use it as a tool to supplement what you're doing, but don't use it where it diminishes your own critical thinking and creativity. Because I mean, there are times where we're using AI to write something, or we'll use it to create an outline for a deck for a client or something, and it just spits out like nonsense sometimes. It's like AI speak. And there have been times where we're like, no, 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 like we don't need AI for this. Like we're smart enough. We've got creativity. We know what the buyer need. Like, let's just create our own outline and our own words. And it turns out great. And then we can use like AI to kind of just double check it. But that's an example of like, we want this to be unique. We want it to be creative, and we need it to have some personality and some heart and soul. And in order to do that, sometimes like you got to just trust your own judgment.
Yeah. The thing I'd say is imagine who knows how many research studies are happening right now on AI usage and its impact on our brains.
Yeah.
The whole brain rot thing. I didn't know what that term was. My son was like, he mentioned that in a conversation. My freshman in college, and I think that's real. And I think it actually hit home harder. We recently had to move my dad into a special home for mental care because of his dementia. And so just seeing, an older person's brain deteriorate over time,
Mm.
and thinking that, you know, as we rely too heavily on AI for things, your brain literally is going to be impacted. And is this a thing that actually speeds up dementia as you get in your older
Mm.
years because you haven't been using your brain as much? And
Mhm.
so it's something that it's close to home for me, and I think it's a real concern. And
Mhm.
I think about that a lot. And so I hope that, kind of as Brock has mentioned, it's really important to just not over rely on these tools too much. Your brains, if there's something that you can do to make sure that your flow and your tool usage is such that you're still doing a lot of the heavy lifting from a creative standpoint, and you're just using AI to either ideate early and then revise and edit later, that's really probably going to be your best use of it. Certainly
Mm.
there's going to be plenty of people that use it for the entire process, but I just think there's going to be more damage. Despite the damage you might be doing to your brand, you might be doing a lot of damage to your brain, and you
Yeah.
just don't really know the effects of it yet. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. We talk a lot about using AI and thinking of AI as compute as opposed to thinking of AI as an answer engine, a source of
Yeah.
truth, I don't know, something. Yeah, thinking of it as compute, meaning you're feeding it really good input,
Yes.
and then AI is accomplishing something for you that produces a 10x return, meaning
Uh-huh.
X time savings, 10x ROI. Like in the grand scheme of the AI use, it should provide that. I mean, that's why the show's called the Tenfold AI podcast, right? We're
Yeah.
all about getting
there
those
you go.
10x amplifiers, completing front end brand work for a fraction of the cost of a McKinsey or a Deloitte, for instance, right? But it's steered by experts who know what questions to ask, what a good answer looks like, and that's you guys. So if people want to, look into what you're doing, engage with you guys, we'll have the link to your website, forgefathom.com. Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Forgefathom.com.
And then we're all over LinkedIn. I'm engaging every day
Every
because
day.
of my little agent doing its work. Yeah, we're all over LinkedIn and certainly check out the website. Yeah, if I'll throw out again the quick check. There's a little button in our website that says test your engine, and it takes 5 minutes, as Brock mentioned. You can get a quick read on whether your overall engine is in a good spot or it might be in a rough spot. So take a look.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I'm really stoked that you guys were, available to chat today and share more of your thoughts on AI and your business. Very cool. And with that, we will wrap. This has been the Tenfold AI Podcast Market Watch series featuring Brock and Brody, the bros of MarTech, of branding, of marketing, of Kansas City, of Forge Fathom. You're the best. No, you're the best. Bye, guys. I will.
LLM architecture for professional communicators.